Hello, and welcome to Things We Learned This Week, a show about research, facts, and combating the apparent human need to make shit up. I'm your co-host, Jacob Morrow.
And I'm your other co-host, Jordan Williams. Coming to you live from Jacob Morrow's bedroom.
Coming to you live from Jacob Morrow's other bedroom. Oh my god. I have two. How often do people have more than one bedroom?
Privileged collegiate society, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I would assume. Shit. I didn't really think about
Yeah,
the
so...
Oh.
A brief explanation of the situation going on right now. Jacob is currently in his dorm, whereas I am recording from his house back at home, because while we may be close to neighbors living, and kind of in the same town, my house does not have internet connection.
But mine does, and my family likes Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Ironically, this is actually how we became friends in the first place, partially.
Yes, by his need for internet and my need to have someone in the same room as me while I played video games.
Yeah, come to think of it, I don't know how we ended up being as good as friends as we are. In all honesty, you let me play Destiny in your basement while I downloaded videos onto my Kindle Fire, and then we were friends.
But like, while you were playing Destiny at my house, I was on the computer also playing something else.
Or watching creepypasta, and then occasionally telling me to put down the game to watch whatever you were watching.
Oh, that's valid. I mean, but that sounds like me.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the weekly update?
Not a whole lot. I rediscovered RuneScape, which is an old MMORPG, massively multiplayer online role-playing game.
Am I gonna have to start playing RuneScape again?
Huh?
Am I gonna have to start playing RuneScape again?
If you want to. I mean, I just picked it up as something that I can do while I'm like studying, because it's really easy to just like have it open in a tiny tab and click whilst I'm looking at something else.
Oh, so you click a long distance, and while you're walking, you read?
Yes. Or, like, if I need to, like, train a skill, I just, like, click on something, the character does its thing, and then I'm over on a different Google tab researching for this show.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
Buddy...
It works not bad. My script doesn't turn out terrible, so...
Why? There we go.
Or script, what's that? I don't write a script for this, I just off the top of my head.
There was a buddy of mine who used to be on the esports team, dude named Skylar.
Mm-hmm.
He played RuneScape harder than any man I think I'll ever met, because he was actually excited for them to raise the skill cap on abilities so he could continue to grind skills.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like
weird.
If I'm completely honest, it feels like a capitalism simulator, and in that way it sucks really bad. Because everything you do is in order to be able to make more money. That sucks.
He just wanted to have 99s and everything.
I mean, yeah, there's also like the good feeling that you get from like maxing out a skill or even from just leveling up. Like that's
But
nice.
it would take so much time. He would play Stardew Valley while he was grinding RuneScape.
That is sad.
It was so weird.
I've tried. The other game that I've been playing a lot recently is Binding of Isaac. So I tried to do like Binding of Isaac on one tab and then RuneScape in the bottom on the other, but like you can't really kill hill giants at the same time that you're trying to kill your own mother.
Yeah, Isaac is definitely you can't multitask in Isaac. You're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time and you're gonna die a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Do you have anything that you want to update the audience on? Or me on, if I haven't heard yet?
Let me think for a second. On my way here, I passed a woman walking a pug that looked like an uncircumcised chode.
I mean, like, that's a lot of pugs, though.
It had so much extra skin, you could barely see the head. It was weirdly cute, but in an ugly sense.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just kind of pugs overall, though.
Mm-hmm. And he was lagging very much behind. Somewhere tucked in the folds of his skin was a bandana peeking through. It was an image I don't think I'll forget soon.
Look upon what humanity has wrought.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then we also found the dog that my mom got and ran away. So that's a bonus.
Really?
Yeah, it's a sweet little bloodhound puppy named Annabelle. She was missing for a little bit over a month, but we finally got her home. She's recovering very well, but she has a terrible, terrible sense of separation anxiety. Like, she's bonding really well with my mom again, but when my mom leaves, even if it's just like go and grab something out of the car, she immediately runs to the door and starts howling. It
That is the
is.
saddest thing I think I've
I
ever heard.
know, and I know she'll get over it soon. We're working with her. Like, she went through a traumatic experience, so obviously it's gonna be a hard time for her, but we're just hoping that we can get her like happy as well as healthy as soon as possible.
Back in a good state of mind so that she enjoys living. Gosh, that's so
Unlike
sad.
us college students.
No.
Yeah.
On the topic of dogs, my girlfriend Jasmine and I went to PetSmart, 2 of them actually, and then like 2 Petcos yesterday.
Was it exclusively to pet the dogs? Oh.
Yeah, to look at. We were looking at getting more stuff for her birds. She has 2 budgies who are named Martin and Chris. We were looking for more stuff to like set up in their cage, and when we got there were like tons of people with their dogs. We couldn't figure out why, and we finally got to the last Petco, and there was this dude dressed up as Santa sitting there taking pictures with dogs. So I guess like whatever company must have like offered like, hey, come in and get a dog pedicure, dog bath, or whatever, and you get to take a family photo with Santa Claus.
So I guess there's inclusion for dog parents as well.
I mean, yeah.
I just nenever would have heard of a Petco Santa. You know, that doesn't really ring off.
That just doesn't like fit quite as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Alrighty. Well, should we get to business?
Absolutely. I think I actually go first this week.
Oh, all right. Let's hear it.
Okay. So my topic this week is Esperanto, which is the world's most popular auxiliary language. Now, an auxiliary language is just a language that was like not developed by people, but more of like created for a purpose, and mostly for the express purpose of communication between people who like don't share a common language. So like invented for the purpose of being a world language so that everyone can communicate together and also still have their own languages to communicate with their own peoples.
Oh, all right. So it's a made language, but not a made language like Pig Latin.
No, it's not a made-up language like Pig Latin. It's a made-up language. Yeah. Still, though.
Ah. Yeah. Okay.
But exactly, it's a made-up language, so who made it? And the person who invented Esperanto is this guy named, and this is his Esperanto name, like the name like as translated in Esperanto, and I feel like that's probably how he would have won it read, because there are like a lot of different ways that people say it. Just because like he was born in like the late 1800s, so there were many different things that changed and morphed his name into different things.
Okay.
His name started out in original Yiddish as like Ezeal or something like that, and then over time was morphed into Lazarus, and then ended up at Ludwig.
Wait, what's Yiddish again?
Yiddish is the traditional language of the Jewish people.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Along with Hebrew, it's one of the traditional language of the Jewish people.
Okay. Yeah, I'd never. It's been a while since I've heard that.
Yes, you hear it every once in a while in pop culture as being a thing, but they never really talk about what it is. But yeah, Yiddish is the language of the Jewish people, or one of the languages. Yes. Anyway, so his name was Ludwig Zamenhof, and he was born in 1859 in Białystok, Poland. His father was a dude named Marcus Zamenhof, who was a linguist, and he founded a school in Białystok that was devoted entirely to teaching the language arts. And this passion for language carried on to his son, who wrote poetry and plays and learned like a ton of languages. Eventually, Ludwig learned about 12 of them throughout his entire life. Like, learned 12 languages. I just think that's awesome.
And then he went on to be the best underground rapper in all of Poland.
Yes, in all of Poland. He actually also, and I found this to be a little ironic. He wrote, one of the plays that he wrote was a 5-act play about the story of the Tower of Babel, about a story where language is the chief problem of everyone speaking different languages.
Huh.
I just thought that was really interesting. But anyway, so as he grew up, he started to see a lot of like tension and hate between the different ethnic groups in his hometown. And watching these struggles and seeing that most of the different groups of people spoke different languages and couldn't communicate with each other, he started believing that if that language barrier could be overcome, everyone could really talk to each other and understand what they were going through and just get along or even band together to make the world a better place. So he started working on creating a language that he felt could do something like that, using bits and pieces from languages that were near him, as well as like other languages that he didn't know quite as well, like Spanish and Latin, mostly using them as kind of a way to make it as like a different language so that it would be fair for everyone to learn. Like everyone would be learning something completely new, but it would also be something that was pretty easy to learn.
All right. So Esperanto was like the Rosetta Stone if you just used the middle bit.
Yeah, if you just use the middle bit and then made your own language. And then like you're not using it to like code, like figure anything out. You're just like, yes, this is a new thing.
Huh. All right.
But yeah. So, after he learned his doctorate, this doctorate was in medicine, not in any contemporary language field. Optometry, actually, this like eyes, right? He published his first book in 1887, which was entitled Unua Libro, or in Esperanto, or in English, First Book. In it, he describes the language and how to speak it and its purpose in the world. But he never names the language. Instead, he just kind of calls it the international language. He never names himself either, instead using the pseudonym The One Who Hopes. Or, in the language that he invented, Esperanto. And so that's where we get the name. Is for him, the one who hopes. So, around the same time, there was another auxiliary language that was getting major attention, and it was called Volapük. But it would later fall out of prominence due to its creator refusing to allow for the other people learning it to change it for the better. He was like, no, I invented the perfect language, it's staying like this. And because of that, yeah, exactly. Because of that, the movement completely splintered off with other people creating different versions of Volapük for their own specific needs. But when Esperanto, I almost said the name of the thing wrong. This is not a good mouth day. When Esperanto started to gain traction, Ludwig would instead relinquish all of his ownership of it. Like, he decided, like, I don't own this language anymore, the world does. And he asked that anyone who had ideas on how the language could be improved, that they should get together with him and everyone else so that they could make it better together. And as Esperanto continued to grow, Ludwig edited the first Esperanto news or magazine that came out, which was called the Esperantisto. And he also started translating as many other works that people created as they could, being like other books, other plays. The last one that he created being the one of his own religion, the Torah. Ludwig passed away in 1917, but his work was continued by his daughter Lydia, who traveled the entire world giving lectures on Esperanto and its purpose until she and the rest of her family were in Warsaw, and they were captured in the late 1930s by the Nazis and summarily murdered in one of the concentration camps in 1942. Nazis really fucking suck.
Yeah, wow. I didn't I know you were saying that it was I didn't realize it was that like recent. So is Esperanto still used today then?
Actually, yes. Thankfully, Esperanto continues to this day. It has somewhere around 2 million speakers worldwide throughout Europe and North America, South America, and Asia. The continents that have people on them besides Australia and Africa. There are definitely speakers there too. Sorry. So yeah, about 2 million speakers worldwide, with about 1,000 to 2,000 of those speakers being native speakers or folks whose parents spoke Esperanto in the home enough that they just learned the language as they grew up. Like, that's their primary language, like English is for us. Normally these folks that are native speakers are also bilingual, just because you have to be able to communicate with other people too. So they either speak the parents' birth language or they speak the language of the people around them. There is actually even a person named Kim Hendrickson, who is a native speaker himself, who is teaching his children to speak Esperanto, which effectively is creating a second generation of native Esperanto speakers.
Hey, so look at that.
There are a lot of people speaking Esperanto. Actually, even Duolingo offers a free course on Esperanto that you can take, just like Spanish and Russian and all the other languages.
Another excuse for the owl to scream at me.
Exactly. I actually... It's finally what got me to download the app, just because I was like, I want to try this out. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So, enough of the history. I'm going to give you a brief lesson on Esperanto.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me,
Oh, good.
pen and paper.
Pen and paper. Oh, I don't have any pens or paper in my room.
So, yeah, I was looking briefly, and I just opened a MS Paint page, so we're good.
Okay, good work. So, Esperanto is similar to Spanish in the way that each letter in the alphabet only has one sound. I tried to find the word for that, and I know that my Spanish teacher taught it to me, but I could not find it for the life of me. So it's like that, unlike English, where you can have the same letter making two completely different sounds, like the C in cake and the C in ceramic. So the alphabet in Esperanto also uses the sound O after each consonant instead of the E that you hear in all of the English. So in English, you would have B, C, D. In Esperanto, you have Bo, Cho, Do, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. It also adds a few letters to the alphabet, to like our normal Latin alphabet. It just to get in sounds like the G in gem and the CH in chat.
Oh, okay.
That being said, here is the Esperanto alphabet. A, Bo, So, Cho, Do, E, Fo, Go, Jo, Ho, Cho, I, Yo, Jo, Ko, Lo, Mo, No, O, Po, Ro, So, Sho, To, U, Wo, Vo, and So. I wanted to sing that in like the normal happy birthday tune, but like I'm still learning. It also has 28 letters instead of our 24, right?
Oh, I lost count.
I think we have 24 letters. 26. There are 26.
Again, Jacob proving that in this educational podcast, we barely have a high school education.
This is very true. Yeah. And to cap things off, here are some useful phrases in Esperanto.
All right.
Hello is saluton. How are you is kiel vi. Good morning is bonan matenan. Yes is yes, but written with the J. No is ne. Maybe is eble. Do you speak English is Ĉu vi parolas la anglan? Do you speak Esperanto is Ĉu vi parolas Esperanton? Sorry is mi beduranas. I said that super wrong. Once again, still learning. So sorry is mi bedaŭras. That's it. Thank you is dankon. Please is mi petas. You're welcome is nedankinde. Nedankinde? That should be right. And that's it for me. I would like my Wikipedia article, please.
Yep, there we go. I'm bringing it up. I figured out every time I click on a tab, you turn into a robot, so I'm trying to figure this out.
Oh, interesting.
Alrighty, so your random Wikipedia page is the Box Hill City Band.
Oh, so you mean... Wait, Box Hill City Band?
The Box Hill City Band.
BHCB? They were a direct competitor.
BOX. Box.
Box?
Yeah.
So the BHCB They were a direct competitor to CCR, Clarence Clearwater Revival. They actually, instead of singing the song Fortunate Son, they made the exact response to it called Actual Fortunate One, and it was all about how they were richer and actually better, and they were. they were part of the government, and they were one of the rich ones, and they were one of the patriotic people who is going to point a cannon at you, son. It is me. It is me. I am the fortunate one. Yeah.
All right. So, you may have been close as far as I know. The Box Hill City Band was first founded in 1889, formerly the Box Hill Temperance Band, or the Reporter District Brass Band, or the Box Hill District Band. They are one of the oldest brass bands in Victoria, Australia.
Oh, okay. When were they established?
1889.
Interesting. Okay.
And as far as I know, there might be a version of this still running.
Cool. Okay.
Because it's been disbanded and reborn a lot.
I don't know how long they were around, but it's kind of like Mannheim Steamroller for America.
So yeah, like it says here that they disbanded around World War I and again in World War II, reforming again around 1951. The band continues today under the Box Hill City Band name as a Grade B brass band within the Victorian Brands League.
Grade B.
Well, B for brass, that could be a good thing.
Or B for not A.
B for not A.
Not A.
Oh, sad. Wise words, Jacob Morrow.
All right.
All right.
It is now your turn.
All righty. So, this week I was going to do some mentionings about modern day AI and do some research into that, but research for that is proving to be much more difficult than I first anticipated.
Yeah, I would anticipate that to be so.
Yeah, so about 2 hours before recording this podcast, I had a conversation with a friend of the family who happened to work at a mental rehabilitation clinic near to us called the Hastings Regional Center here in Hastings, Nebraska. And
it's, so to add context, it's this building in between our hometown and the town of Hastings, and when you drive past it, it's possibly the creepiest place I've ever seen in my life.
Like, you expect to see Zach Baggins and his crew there if you drive past it after 8 o'clock.
It's spooky. I remember that back in the day when people were shitty and hazing was just kind of something that was okay. The volleyball team used to get like the freshmen, pack them all up in a bus, say that they were going to go ghost hunting, drive them out to the regional center, dump all the freshmen out, and then drive away and make them call their parents. Like,
wait, like our high school?
Our high school.
I never heard about that. That's awesome. I mean, no,
that's
don't
not
do
awesome.
That
was awful. Can you imagine how scary that would be? I would lose my mind.
But I like ghost shit, Jacob.
I love ghost shit too, but I don't like it when people dump me off at a place and make me call my mom in the middle of the night.
Okay, this is also coming from somebody who watched Ghost Adventures unironically for 4 years.
Hey, that dude, what's his name?
Zach Baggins.
He's so hot.
Yes, I agree. Zach Baggins is like, I agree. It's undecided whether or not the ghost would try to kill him or fuck him first. Anyway,
if we're completely honest, that super tight black. Every time that he gets scared, I'm so worried that he's gonna flex too hard in that tight black shirt and it's just gonna rip off. It always looks like it's like about 14 seconds for just whoosh.
Jesus. But no, also, like, there was some TV show I grew up watching. I can't find the name of it for the life of me. If you can find it, like, email us or something. It was a ghost show from a dude that looked like Zach Baggins' sad little brother. And it was basically throwing kids into ghost hunting opportunities. And it was like a survival-esque thing where 2 kids would go in, and if they got too scared, they had to leave early, and they won if they found ghost activity.
So no one ever won ever.
I don't know. That's the thing. I just vaguely remember watching the show, but I can't find it anywhere. I've been Googling for years. Anyway, So
I
we're
like.
not sure.
Sorry, can I do one more?
Yeah, go.
I just imagine that type of show, but instead of it being ghost hunters, it's the Survivor Man.
Like
And
the
like Bear
Survivor Man.
Grylls just like throws two kids out of a moving airplane with oh my god, what are those parachutes?
Like Naked and Afraid, like
Okay, maybe
style where
not
they
naked
jump
and
out of a.
afraid. Maybe not naked and afraid, you pedophile.
Hey. Bad example, but like where it's like a pair of people surviving, although instead of two grown adults, it's just like two eighth graders that got thrown out of a helicopter.
It's the two eighth graders. It's the bully and the non-bull, like the bullied kid, and they just get thrown out. And that's how we solve their differences, and they're best friends for life.
And here's the twist: to get him in the helicopter, we tell them that we're going sightseeing, and they don't know they're on a reality show.
Oh no! Do we give them the camera, or do we just have like a drone following them?
No, you just like surgically implant them, like you like.
No! Oh my god!
What are you talking about? We're all born with cameras surgically implanted into our irises.
Oh.
It's 2018.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I guess I forgot. Excuse me, I need to go wipe off my lens now.
We live in a post-1954 society.
Is it sad that my glasses are actually really dirty and I need to go wipe off my lens?
Your glasses are always filthy. So is your phone screen. This is something we could talk about later.
Valid. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so this friend of the family, he told me about some of the things and the history about this regional facility. And after doing some 20 minutes of research before recording, I found out that it's actually pretty open about the shitty conditions that people may have been kept in at this facility. So I'm just going to go ahead and browse through the like around 125 year history of the Hastings Regional Center.
Okay.
So, it was first designed by the architect named Charles C. Rittenhouse. He designed the original 3-story brick building with like all around a central tower. And then later on in 1891, the north and south wings were added to the original building. And there was a lot of stuff added on after that, such as a north annex in 1902. An amusement hall was built on the property in 1904, where some amusement things would be held for patients and the like. And then during this period as well, there were 2 greenhouses and a farm cottage built. In 1914, a dairy barn was also added. And this is where I'm actually going to step off for a second. The entire facility, like after its first 15 years, once I got all the farm and stuff, it was entirely self-sufficient.
Oh, it's one of
like
those places. Okay.
Yeah, so the facility had its own farm, had its own crops, had its own like facilities management, and even a post office later on down the line.
Do I want to know who worked the grounds?
I think we'll get to that here soon.
Oh no.
So there is the bad thing about this is that the medical and surgical building wasn't erected until 1926. And the psychiatric hospital was finally built in 1938.
There wasn't even a hospital there yet?
In 1957, the All Faiths Chapel was built with funds from thousands of donors. And I think that is one of the most prominent creepy buildings you can see if you drive past it today.
Is it? I don't know if I've seen like a church there.
Yeah, it's like, well, we usually take the left turn before we actually see the chapel, but if you keep going, yeah. So, patients were first received at the hospital on August 1st, 1889. The first 44 patients were transferred from Lincoln. Melville Mills was assigned the first patient and remained a patient until his death in 1895. Through 1916, 4,115 patients had been received, and in a poll taken in December of 1916, there were 1,152 inmates, 405 of which were women, and the rest being 747 men.
The saddest part of that whole thing was inmates.
Yeah, that's the wordage they use here on the website.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Originally, the institution received inmates from hospitals at Lincoln and Norfolk who were believed to be incurable. And the original name of this Hastings hospital was Hospital for the Incurably Insane. The legislature then changed the name to the Asylum for the Chronic Insane in 1895.
This sounds a little pessimistic, don't it, Bob? Yeah, Jerry, I think it might.
In 1905, the name was again changed to the Nebraska State Hospital. It seems they wanted to protect their reputation a little bit. And in 1915, it was changed to Ingleside Hospital for the Insane. And again, later it was changed to Hastings State Hospital. And in 1971, it has been changed to its current name, which is the Hastings Regional Center. In the 1800s, patients were admitted for reasons that today would seem outrageous. Okay, so Jacob, I'm going to read to you some of these outrageous reasons. And at the end of this, I want you to guess what is the most common thing that patients were sent here for.
Go ahead.
The list is domestic trouble, disappointment in love, financial trouble, hepatic dullness, heredity, masturbation, intemperance, overwork, overstudy, religious excitement, sunstroke, and others.
I mean, just based off, like, of that list, which one was the most common?
Yes.
I mean, definitely masturbation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would figure.
And when I was told this, I didn't believe it.
Really?
But it's I just completely spaced. It was a different time back then, and masturbation was a big sin back then.
If I'm
grandma and grandpa would catch little Johnny out behind the back fence and decide he was an evil boy who needed to be reworked.
I mean, yeah, and send him to a place where they're gonna do terrible shit to make you stop doing something that's completely natural. It makes me stuff like this gets me so mad. I'm actually really surprised that like it wasn't like homosexuality or something that like by today's standards it's completely unexcusable that like terrible things were done to people like that. You know what I mean?
The one thing that got me was sunstroke.
Yeah. Or like what was the one of them was like something completely innocuous. I don't remember which one it was, but something.
Disappointment in love.
Yeah. Disappointment in love. Oh my god, wait. Ooh, that one makes me feel uncomfortable now.
Yeah, you had to think about that one a little bit, huh?
Do you think that one was just used on wives who were sick of their terrible husbands?
No, other way around, mostly.
I mean, other way around makes... Okay.
There was a movie that was one of the major plots. I don't remember off the top of my head. But also overstudy was one that I found a little strange considering...
Oh no, the religious excitement.
Yeah, religious excitement. I think that might be like believing that the Lord came to you himself and then preaching about it may have been like...
Okay, yeah.
All right. So, early care of the patients was primarily custodial. Patients were trained to make beds, sweep floors, wash and polish furniture, and to take care for their own clothes. Winter and summer, patients retired at 8 p.m. Inmates were primarily cared for by ward attendants who lived on the wards. They were on duty 22 hours a day, with only 1 half day per week to themselves.
Ugh.
Room and board were a part of their salary, and they had to be single. There were always 4 primary supervisors, 2 male and 2 female. There were no graduate nurses, technicians, or physicians other than the assistant superintendent. There was an official steward and bookkeeper, a farmer, a gardener, and an engineer and his assistant. Patients did most of the work on the farm and in the dairy.
There it is.
Hastings newspapers listed the amount of fall harvest, and in 1929 reported the animal population as 125 turkeys, 3,000 chickens, 400 ducks, hogs, 300 pigs, and a dairy herd. And they talk more in depth about how the entire thing of the farm was for the hospital to be completely self-sufficient, and it pretty much was. In 1905, the post office was built and named Ingleside on the property, and that's part of the reason why the hospital was called Ingleside for as long as it was, is people just referred to it as the hospital or as the post office's name.
I mean, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. The hospital superintendents were postmasters until 1913, and then they hired a civil postmaster. The post office closed in 1972. And yeah, the entire time that the post office was there, it was colloquially called Ingleside.
Just Ingleside. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would really only refer to it as the place where you send letters to your husband, who is there forever because he touched your pee-pee once.
Yeah, pretty much. The early 1920s saw the first attempt at treatment of the mentally ill.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it was originally open for those people who could not, or who were believed to not be curable.
So it's just a place for them to literally be, like, basically enslaved.
Well, not just enslaved. In some severe cases, if patients were elderly and completely unresponsive for several days, they were deprived of all solids and fluids until the problem took care of itself.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. The first attempts were electroshock treatment, which produced convulsions in the patient. In the 1930s and 40s, fever therapy, which, for those of you who don't know, is basically inducing a medical fever, because it's believed that inducing a patient with a fever, like, it senses our body's natural solution to most problems, that it could help that way.
Medicine is really, really cool, but it started out in a stupid place.
Mm-hmm. Hydrotherapy, which is just doing Pilates in a swimming pool and similar things.
At least, honestly, though, like, based off of the two before, I was not going to be surprised if you were like, you just waterboard them. I would not have been surprised.
And then there was also insulin shock therapy, which I am unfamiliar with.
I mean, I hope that it's not just injecting people with insulin.
Yeah, like four needles. You'll be fine. It'll work itself out. In the 1920s, or up previously to the 1920s, a dentist was hired. But before the 1920s, when he was hired, any like cavities and tooth rot was just completely ignored.
Of course.
Yeah. Early in the 1950s, the biggest breakthrough in treatment came with the discovery of psychiatric drugs, which included tranquilizers. From that time on, it was possible to unlock wards and start a program of rehabilitation of inmates. Such services as occupational therapy, industrial therapy, recreational therapy, religious therapy, vocational therapy, psychotherapy, reality therapy, transactional analysis, and behavior modification were added. And then, to close that all off, the facility was also equipped with its own cemetery, and there were no marked graves up until about 1907. Yeah, it's a little messed up. But on top of that, all the files from this facility are marked confidential, and families must be able to receive a court order to get information about family members, which is also scary in and of itself.
Jesus. I mean, part of it makes sense because you do want that, patient confidentiality, but at the same time, like deceased family members should
But yeah, I thought a lot of this was, I think that's pretty much it. I just thought a lot of this was interesting, and it might be just because of where I am, but all this stuff happened in our backyard hundreds of years ago, and within 100 years, and I never really thought to look into it. I thought it was just a creepy old building.
It's really interesting to look at look at TV shows like the season of American Horror Story about Asylum, right?
Yeah.
To look at that and think wow, something pretty similar to that happened really close to me, and it probably happened a lot of places.
Yeah. After seeing this, Asylum, other than most of the demon-y stuff, was not far off of representation.
I mean, it's actually horrifying.
All
It's
right.
really sad.
Well, that's it for the article and the informative segment. So let's hear that Wikipedia article.
Sure, let's brighten things up a little bit. All right, so here we go. All right, this is actually the very first article that came up, and I'm not joking.
All right.
Let's see if you got it. It's just called 10 Little Roosters.
Oh, hey, 10 Little Roosters. That's the short. It was the murder mystery that Rooster Teeth did, right?
It is. You're correct.
Hey.
We have our first correct response.
Woo! I win.
Now? What do I have to do? What do you get for that?
I guess I can just describe it more in depth, and you can give me a cookie next time I see you.
Sure, I'll give you a cookie next time I see you, and we'll take a picture of it and we'll put it up on our Twitter.
That's funny. The 10 Little Roosters thing had a bunch of really cool things in it because not only, well, it had the typical plot, which I won't spoil because I still believe it's available for watch and some people haven't watched it. But
yes,
leading up to the final episode, each episode had a clue hidden somewhere in it where you could put it to a website and it would give you like a video clip of somebody saying, oh, so you think it's this person? Maybe not, or that kind of stuff. I found 3 of them before I just went over my head. I'm not smart enough.
Just
to
went
figure
over
those
your
out.
head and you just gave up on it.
Yeah, I let the nerds figure out. But I guess somebody did end up figuring out like in the 8th or 9th episode because of the clues or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hey, that's kind of funny.
But yeah, it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they only 8 episodes were ever made. Yeah. It was inspired by Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Josh Flanagan.
Yeah, Josh Flanagan has 2 beautiful husky dogs.
Yeah. What else does he make? I don't actually know if I'm familiar with Josh Flanagan.
I believe he's just one of the writers for Rooster Teeth.
I mean, okay.
Like, he does a lot of writing and directing for some of their more live-action products. Or productions.
Sick. Okay. Well, awesome.
All right. Well, I think that concludes this week's episode.
I think that does conclude us. So, show notes. Thanks to the beautiful Jasmine Frank for making our cover art. You can find more of her work at jasminelene.com or at Jasmine Lene on Instagram, because that is actually her handle, not Jasmine Frank. You can find me on Tumblr, Rest in Peace Nudes on Main, at A Swarm of Birds. Or you can find me on Twitter at MOOOROW.
Oh, and you can find me on Instagram at Crashing Marty, and hopefully here pretty soon, maybe on Twitch and YouTube. That's going to be one of my winter projects.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be able to find me on Twitch at some point. I would love to start streaming, but we'll find out.
Start streaming our research, a very exciting process.
Very, very exciting process. You can also find the show as a whole you can email us, at TWLTWpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Twitter at TWLTWpodcast. You can find all of our sources in the show notes, those we put down there in a little Google Doc. And yeah, I think that's actually about it.
All right, well, this has been us. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you very much. All right, talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.